Well, welcome back to the channel once again. It's been a while. I think 7 months, something like that. I've been busy. But I finally got the 67 Chevy back in the garage here after many years of procrastination. Progress has been made. We'll get to that in a little bit. But today we're going to finish the exhaust off with this do-it-yourself kit I found off of speedwaymotors.com. So, let's get to it. Alright, as I said, there's been updates. When I bought this car, the rear quarters were done. The trunk pan was done. One of the first problems it had was that the trunk pan wasn't welded down far enough, so it wouldn't sit in the support brackets / gas tank mounts. So we got that all cut loose, kind of pushed it down so it made up with the brackets, re-welded it. I know the seam seal looks a little crude, but we're not going for perfect here. So after the trunk was finally back into place, I went through the whole process of drilling out the trunk supports and spot welding them up where they belong. Painted everything up, sealed it, threw a brand new gas tank in it, and now we can finally move on from that. Also, if you look back at the first video, the quarter panels didn't really do the, bend in like they should. They more or less were kind of straight down. So I just kind of shoved them up, welded them to the inside there a little bit, so it looks a little better. When I bought this car, the goal was to do a total frame off. The undercarriage is all done. If you go back and watch the first video, I think I explained in there how everything underneath was completely taken apart, rebushed, got a disc brake conversion on it, the frame's painted, everything underneath is brand new. Even the engine was hopefully rebuilt. They said it was. I think it was. Transmission was new-ish. But I think right now, with time and money considered, I just want to get the thing together. Get the glass in it, get it rewired, get it so it's driving and functional, and just have fun with the thing. Because who knows how many life forms this thing could take on. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing a nice frame-off restoration, but then they're done. But if I did that, I wouldn't have as much fun with it, I don't think. It'd be too perfect. You wouldn't want to drive it if it got driven in the rain. Oh my gosh. So I think, how fun would it be just to leave it the way it is and just thrash on it for a while? I don't really want perfect quarter panels. We basically live in a petting zoo. There's animals running in front of these things all the time. And maybe someday it gets put into a burnout pit and I smack into the wall and, if it ain't perfect in the beginning, who really cares? We can always fix it. And in reality, in the future, it doesn't take a whole lot of effort to blow this thing apart and do it nice if you really want to. But we definitely got our work cut out. But that's enough jaw-jacking, let's get to it. Well, one of the first and foremost things I wanted to do with this, seeing how now we have a brand new fuel system, and also because I don't want my car to burn to the ground, I wanted to get this clear, reusable, take it apart and clean it, fuel filter off. Apparently they come loose and then spray gas all over your engine and they start on fire, I've been told. So enough of that. I'm going to go ahead and replace that with a standard MicroGuard 33033 regular non-combustible steel filter. Just trying to figure out which way is in. Perfect. Okay, one thing I wanted to address that popped into my brain was the valve adjustment. Now, when I got this car, it originally just had the regular cast iron stock intake on it, and we had this aluminum Edelbrock laying around, so we thought, well, that'd be neat to throw on, so we did. And I remember when I had the valve covers off at that point, I believe it was these two rockers were completely loose, and I pretty much just turned them right off the valves. And I'm like, oh, someone didn't adjust the valves. I believe there was one or two over here that did the same thing. Now, I didn't realize at that time that the studs that hold the rockers on have a tendency to work themselves out. And I was like, I should really go check that. So I did. Maybe hard to tell on here, but upon inspection, they're pretty good. I think an easy way to tell is by the amount of threads that you have sticking out beyond the adjuster nut. And they're all fairly even, with the exception of these in the front, which have less threads sticking out, but the studs don't appear to be lifting out of the head, so that's good. I remember years ago I adjusted them, but I can't really remember how I did it. I know I did it in some fashion of tightening down the rocker until there was no lash and then giving it some kind of preload, but honestly I just want to go over it and just do it again so I know it's right. Right now I'm just going to loosen everything up, tighten everything down till there's no lash, rotate the engine, find the loose ones, tighten them, repeat that process until I know there's zero lash in all the rockers, and then just give them 3/4 turn of preload on each one, then I'll know it's good. Alright, got the first round all tightened up. Each one of these is tight. We got the balancer mark. We'll go and throw it at 90 degrees. And then there should be some more that'll loosen up. There, it's rotated 90. Check her out. Tighten that one up again. That one. That one. And so forth. Alright, got them all at zero lash. I'm just going to go through and give them each 3/4 turn of preload. Half. 3/4. And so on and so forth. Get that finished up, throw the valve covers back on, and then main event, exhaust. So like I said before, we're finishing the exhaust with the kit. You know, muffler's back, up and over, out the side. Way back when I first got this car running, I had a local muffler shop bend these pipes up, you know, from the manifolds back, just so I could get the exhaust back to here. And I was a little cheap back then, didn't feel like buying mufflers, I just wanted to get it running, so I threw these shorty glass backs on, which do nothing. I mean, the sound of this car, I can't even say it sounded good. It was, well, it sounded like shit. And the kit that I have here, it's just like 250 bucks. These two, I'm not even sure what brand they even are. They're just like a knockoff Flowmaster. In all reality, it's probably actually a Flowmaster, just not labeled. But it's, I believe, equivalent to a 40 series, so it should have a nice sound. I guess step number one, I'm going to try to figure out about where to cut this. You know, I suppose that someday I'm sure I have a use for one of these. Alright, we got the mufflers burned in. A little bit of advice, which you probably already knew. Just make sure the pipe doesn't go in too far in either ends, because it could affect airflow and sound. Just pay attention. Mind out of the gutter on this one, alright? So I made sure their ending at least ways right up flush to the muffler on both sides. And this is kind of the preemptive plan that I have so far. So we got muffler up to a 90. I gotta cut this 90 down, and I'm thinking roughly $90 to a 90 to a 45 and a 45 out to the side. Kind of what I'm thinking. That'll be the same thing on both sides. So I'm thinking the pipe should exit about here, and I'll take, you know, probably one of them U-shaped ones and kind of saw it off so it's got a little bit of a turn down or turned out tip or whatever. So let's chop it up and continue to fit this. I'm going to go ahead and cut another inch off of this here 45 just to bring it a little closer to the axle so that it fits. Send it! Alright, well here's what we got. We're going to exit it here shortly behind the rear wheel. Make sure it ain't touching the shock, huh? Oh, there we go. Kind of a rough fit. I like the side pipes. I figured as long as it's got a little bit of a curve and it's, you know, somewhat tucked in to the quarter panel. I mean, I wouldn't want some big old pipe sticking out, but just a nice subtle little curve right out here. I think they give it a nice sound out and inside the cab. Sure. And all I'm going to do from here is just make sure everything is fit just perfectly so, and then mark it with a line here and a line here, and do as much welding on the floor as possible. But the only thing I'm going to have to weld whilst it being in the car will probably just be right to the end of the muffler. I think, and I hope, I can do that joint right there and then just kind of fish it up around all this stuff and then go right into the muffler and figure out some hangers and then call it good enough. I also got a chicken freaking out for some reason. There. Just like so. Well, there we go. One side done. Just got to replicate on the other. Well, nighttime has arrived. Had to go take care of a few things, and now we're back. But hey, check it out. We finally have complete exhaust on this car. Probably for the first time, and I have no idea how long. The kit actually turned out pretty good. Just a little bit of measuring and cutting, and we got her pretty well dialed, I would say. Funny story, my welder actually ran out of argon. It may look a little bad, but you know what? She'll hold. Well, it's actually really late, but I think I can't wait anymore. Let's go ahead and fire this thing up and see what it actually sounds like with a real exhaust on it. The only thing that may happen is that the fuel pump may have lost its prime, given that it's been completely drained, but we'll see what happens. Well, that's perfect. That would be nothing. Alright, we're back. I remembered main power wire to all this broke off a little while back, so now let's see what happens. Well, it definitely needs some fine tuning. Wow. Well, anyway, the exhaust is done, and it runs somewhat. As It's running extremely rich. But it runs nonetheless. So, till next time, thanks for watching. Don't forget that the video's not over yet. Let's come back tomorrow when it's not 1 o'clock in the morning and let this thing run so we both can actually get a feel for what it really sounds like. Well, I was hoping to come back today and end this video on a positive note, but the engine's hurt. We're down on cylinders 2 and 4. So I guess the plan here is now, next video we're going to see what the hell happened. Darn. But, hey, you know what? That's project cars. They'll do that to you. So, anyway, thanks for watching, and that does it for now. See you later.